voice.
Here
Like to
yet?
talk.
No.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
Irish Lady's here.
Oh
Irish.
gosh.
I'll mute everyone for you.
I have the right to talk. Thank you very much, Irish.
I'm gonna.
Twitch.tv/Irish Filati while I draw. I'm going to be talking with Pastel in the Apologize Discord. Also made a Patreon. Uh. Oh, oh boy.
Hello there.
Pastel's a pure-hearted, formed cowboy.
You can hear me
Thank
just
you all
fine,
there.
can't you?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Irish Laddie.
Beautiful. Here, hold on. Let me pull out my tablet, just so.
How should I address you?
You can call me Irish Laddie or Vosh, whatever you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
So, why do you seem to be the subject of so much drama? Every single Discord server I go into that has you in its registry, people tell me all sorts of things about you. That you're transphobic, that you're racist, but it sort of juxtaposes with the image that I've been given of you, or at least the impression from the few times we've spoken. What's up with that?
I've been frequently maligned. Like historically, people have been rather rude to me, and they don't really trust. They don't really trust me. They think I'm a troll, and historically, I haven't been the most considerate of how things could be interpreted, and all I was um, mildly insane. Or months ago, I began to, not be insane. I think is like a good timeline for that.
I'm happy to hear you've made the transition back to relative normalcy. Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm really happy with how I feel right now. I'm doing really good right now.
Nice. Now, you have been quite eager to debate. I'm not saying that in a contentious, like, oh ho ho, you've come into mind end, the master of debate, or anything like that. But you have definitely put both feet forward. What is on your mind?
Oh, Irish Laddie, I thought you were the one that wanted to debate me.
Oh, I can do that too. Both of those work perfectly well for me.
Um, okay.
Who's going first then?
Well, this is actually interesting because I was just playing Overwatch just a few minutes ago and talking to some people in this. They were like, "What are you going to debate Irish Laddie about?" And I said, "I don't really know. Irish Laddie wanted to debate me, so it's just a bit confusing."
Ah, you're cutting out a little bit. Are you using push to talk by chance?
No.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, Discord connection isn't flawless. Let's start. You know what? Let's go down the line, subject by subject. Okay. So a couple of folks have accused you of being transphobic. I see you though go by the they/them pronouns, and I, being a cis man, that means that I have absolutely no authority upon which to impugn your opinion of gender. With that said, do you got any particularly contentious opinions that you think other people may have misinterpreted into transphobia?
Well, just to be clear, I started identifying as non-binary like a few weeks ago, and I only started like really being adamant and asking people like 1 or 2 weeks ago. So it's like I'm kind of new to it. I just felt like uncomfortable, I guess.
Well, nice.
Um, so when it comes to trans people, I don't know anything. When it comes to homosexuality, there's just as a Christian that people will take and is very homophobic, but it's not hating gay people or thinking that gay marriage is wrong or thinking that gay people are worse for being in a gay relationship or anything like that. It's just that I find that I don't necessarily approve of premarital relationships or
Really?
things like yeah. So sometimes I will talk about it, or and I don't approve. And sometimes I find that these are like statistically more common among in the LGBT community, and the response to this is like, "Oh, you think gay people are always fornicating, and that's bad." And it's more like I think we should improve the material conditions for the LGBT community so they can try to have a more healthy way of living. Because it would almost be like saying, "Oh, there's more gay homeless people." Is it's true. Like like I think it's like like of homeless youth are LGBT.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
not because they're making poor life decisions. It's because the material conditions are really.
that is a fair and valid assertion. The only thing that I would have to say, though, is that I would have a very easy time demonstrating how homelessness negatively affects the well being of an individual. I think you will have a very difficult time describing to me how premarital sex negatively affects the happiness of an individual.
So the thing for, somebody in your chat hasn't even been legal for them for a very long time, which is also true. And it'd be like it would be very poor to say, oh, gay people are immoral because they're having sex before marriage when they can't even get married. And it's like the solution to that is obviously to legalize gay marriage. So the other things when it comes to premarital relationships, it's simply biblical to not have sex before marriage. It's the biblical thing to do, and
Well,
that's
you know that won't hold much water for me, right?
yes, that's is as I was about to say that can only hold water for Christians. The reality for non-Christians is that it's it's more likely that you'll have disease and it damages your relationship to sex and how you can use sex as an expression of the most intimate love between two married people.
All right, we have got a whole bunch of claims that we need to unpack here, and we're obviously coming at this from different perspectives. Because I'm a marriage abolitionist, I don't like it. I don't like it as a legal concept. I don't like it ethically. I think that marriage or pair bonding and monogamy in general tend to have negative outcomes in society. So you and I actually have explicitly opposite goals in this respect. Now, there aren't some claims you've put forward here that I don't think you would feel comfortable defending, or at least that you can't really substantiate any adequate defense towards. For instance, the idea that love or that sex is this incredibly intimate experience which is supposed to be kept for one partner. I mean, do you have any data to back that up, or is that a sincerely held religious belief of yours?
Um, I don't have any sources on hand for that. It's what I believe. It's how God made people.
Okay. That's fine. Not all beliefs have to be substantiated by evidence, though obviously I would disagree with that one. Let's put our feet forward here, because I feel like this is a great topic of discussion. So my belief concerning monogamy and marriage and everything of its kind is that a very long time ago, in sort of the pre-modern civilization era, we didn't have marriage as a concept. We obviously had forms of pair bonding that were accepted on a tribal level, but this grandiose religious legal amalgam that religion is, that marriage is today, that obviously didn't exist. I believe that monogamy as a concept began when power holders in tribal societies needed to determine which children were biologically theirs, so they could then form a lineage by which they would pass down their material possessions down to their forebears. And in that sense, monogamy is sort of the root of economic hierarchy. So for that reason, and for others, largely because I enjoy fucking around very much, I am fundamentally opposed to the concept, the very foundational principles behind marriage and monogamy. Could you state your antithesis, your position on this in a broad sense?
I don't support the government monitoring who is married and allowing and determining who can and cannot be married. I find that I can look to the Bible to determine what should be and should not be marriage.
All right. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Okay. All right, then let's get started with your claims then. Because since I'm making essentially the neutral or the negative claim towards everything you believe, we should probably just go point by point with what it is you believe. What would you like to start with? The risk of disease being transferred in amidst people who engage in premarital sex. Their
And not just premarital sex, but also, well, also anal sex in particular.
Do you not believe in engaging in anal sex?
it is, as it is practiced, it is as it is practiced, it's particularly dangerous, and it's not the responsibility of the gay community on the whole to solve this issue in a sense, considering how many of these were a direct result of oppression of history. But the reality is that gay people are more likely to have AIDS, more likely to have syphilis, more likely to have gonorrhea than heterosexual people are. And it's largely due to the number of partners and the types of sex that is being engaged in.
Okay. Do you think those are necessarily bad things?
To have AIDS and syphilis and gonorrhea,
To have the sexual freedom which allows people to engage in behaviors that lead to a higher incidences of those conditions.
I don't think it's the fault of gay people that the conditions exist as they are.
Okay, but do you think that that sexual freedom is fundamentally a bad thing? That people's ability to engage in sex as they please, even without the negative outcomes, is itself a bad thing?
Sexual freedom is maybe a loaded term, I think, because it it could mean either that the government regulates who can or can't have sex, or society says you shouldn't have sex. So let's about what you would exactly mean when you say exactly what you say
I
by
mean to
that.
say, free of the social pressures which would disincline people from engaging in sex they would otherwise want to engage in. Like, say, 50 years ago, women not feeling comfortable engaging in sex.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's I don't want to return to the 1950s where teenagers were having sex at the same or even higher rates than they are now. They were just doing it without condoms and without birth control, and they were spreading chlamydia, and there were so many more teen pregnancies. Um, abstinent. I'm obviously abstinence only education more likely to lead to higher rates of teen pregnancies.
Hmm.
So it's not it's something that I don't want to encourage, but I acknowledge as being outside of my that people will be having sex, and the approach to this is to try to educate people into being as safe as possible.
I mean, I'm 100% in favor of safe sex education. I am all for that. But I feel like you're kind of throwing out the baby with the bathwater here. If you want to lessen the degree to which people get STIs, it seems to me that you could go a lot further by advocating explicitly for safe sex rather than quietly on the down low advocating for a reduction in premarital sex.
I mean, this is kind of the issue I have when I talk to people is people ask me, "Oh, what do you believe?" And then I'll tell them I believe that people should be having less, and then from that, the policy is assumed to be one of an abstinence-only education, which is not something I support because it doesn't work.
Well, I'm not a.
So I support the policy of sex education classes that teach about safe sex, and I think that we should try to reflect in the media that we produce for the media that we have Hollywood and musical production studios produce that teenagers consume should try to take on more social responsibility.
Right, I'm not accusing you of engaging in advocacy for abstinence only education, but you are applying social pressure to people to disincline them from engaging in premarital sex. I engage in a substantial amount of premarital sex. What would you say to me to discourage me from engaging in that behavior?
I don't think it's my to discourage you.
But you want to see me engage in it less.
I would I think you would I think it would be better for your own well-being if you did, but
Because of the
I
STIs?
I yes, and also because of something that you obviously wouldn't believe in is the things that you read in.
I'm afraid you cut out. Could you repeat that last point?
There's also the things that you read in. I know you wouldn't and at least personally.
All right. You cut out a bit there, but I'm going to try and piece together what I think you said. You said there are also reasons which are written in Scripture, but those are not ones which I would agree with, obviously. Did you say that?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Here, I'm
okay.
going to try to switch to.
You cut off when saying that, but I trust you. I have
Okay,
faith
I have
in
Twitch to talk on now.
you. Okay. We'll see how it goes. But really, it's all about the friends we made along the way, right?
Sorry?
It's all about the friends we made along the way, right? Not about the audio quality. It's a phrase.
I'm sorry.
Where you say it's all about the friends you made along the way to sort of placidly dismiss the importance of any perceived negative in a situation that you're currently engaged in.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat yourself?
don't don't worry about it. I was just memeing. It really was nothing. So you don't support abstinence-only education, and you do support teaching safe sex practices. So those are already sort of the positive steps one can take towards these problems. So it seems to me then that all of the reasons you believe people should stop engaging in premarital sex are at the end of the day going to be motivated by the values that you read from the Bible. There aren't any specific policy positions you would take that I would find controversial.
I don't think there's any specific policy position. I think the responsibility to educate children to respect sex as an intimate act of love between two married people is the responsibility of the parents, and sex education is the responsibility split between um, an educational facility and also it's split between the parents and school that the children go to.
Fair enough. I mean, I agree with that. Then, would you mind if we switched, not topics, but approaches here? Why don't you try and proselytize to me? I mean, I am sort of the antithesis of everything you believe in, at least in regards to this specific subject. If we're not going to be discussing certain policy positions, empirical, fact-driven, data-based conversation, then we should at least talk about the kind of rhetoric that you would engage in. Okay, so take me, right? Are you comfortable with that? If not, then we can move on to another topic.
I find it a little strange, and I think it would put me in a position that comfortable.
All right. No worries then. We don't have to discuss it that way.
Yeah, I don't want to talk down to people like that. Like I said, that it's something that we should be doing for children as a parent to a child. And you're not my child, and you're obviously an intelligent adult, so it would just make me very uncomfortable.
True, I am an intelligent adult, but I'm an intelligent adult who engages in a lot of premarital sex. I may yet be saved through your proselytization. I'm giving you shit. You don't have to.
I'm sorry. I do want to save people's souls. I'm just not. It's just not. It's a very difficult thing to argue in favor of the Bible to an atheist.
Well, yeah,
because they have a system of reasoning that largely dismisses any kind of Christian perspective.
Yeah, it's
just
an
makes it
impossible position for you to take. I'm not interested in having an argument on religion. It's super boring, probably for both of us. We've probably both hashed out the major points.
Yeah, I can invite you to Darth Dawkins' server where you can talk to him, but that server is very full of reaction.
Well, yeah, the religious community is full of reactionaries. Now, Darth Dawkins...
It's very unfortunate. It makes me very upset because I'll go to a Bible study and there will be some scrawny white boy there, and he will kind of like overtalk everybody, and then he will be like, have you heard of Jordan Peterson? And just through the things he says, that he's here because Jordan Peterson has convinced him that if he doesn't become a Christian, the West will fail. And this has happened like multiple times, and it's like it just makes me very upset.
I mean, I completely understand. I'm sure you can understand why a person who is religious might find the words of a reactionary appealing, though.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's fine. I mean, we've both engaged in those sorts of arguments 1,000 times before. There's no reason to rehash them here. I think I grew out of religious arguments when I was like 14 or 15 years old, and there's a lot more nuance to them than a lot of people are willing to admit. I will
I
say
left the
though,
church as a teenager because I thought that my church was homophobic, and I was so upset by how homophobic they were, and they weren't even like the worst of the Christians. Like it just is a personal thing to kind of go to church like every Sundays and just feel alone at the same time. It's very upsetting to me.
yeah, I mean, I've only been to church once in my life. I visited my grandparents back when I was like 11, and we sat in there during Easter, and they talked to me about like the fucking blood on the cross. And you know what? It was a pretty good story. I liked it. I unironically liked it. I had my fun. I ate the crackers, and I haven't been back since. But you know what? My very brief and admittedly non-substantial encounter with religious folk was fairly pleasant.
I hope this is a pleasant conversation for you as well.
I am having the time of my life. I hope you feel similarly.
I think this is a good conversation. I like how you're approaching the topic without being very dismissive of me.
Well, you're not a fascist. If you were a fascist or a reactionary, I would give you no credence, and I would spend most of my IQ during this discussion trying to find ways to insult you. But since you're not, I don't need to, and we can have a productive conversation.
No, I'm a communist.
Good. I've never heard of a communist advocating for no premarital sex. That has to be the least intuitive combination of values I have ever encountered in my life. I'm not giving you shit. I'm just saying.
This is not true. I was introduced to some Marxist-Leninist organizations by a Catholic who his parents raised him Catholic and Marxist-Leninist because his mother was from East Germany and his father was from East Germany as well. And his mother, I forgot exactly which branch she served in, but she served in the DDR government. And when she migrated to America, she was raised him to be a Marxist-Leninist and also raised him to be a Catholic.
Hell yeah.
Uh, I think it's less uncommon than people think, although I understand why it may be confused.
Well, memes aside, I do know there actually is a fairly significant contingent of Catholic communists. It's funny that you say that because I once read a book that had an excerpt discussing the unique the interplay between Catholicism and Marxism during the turn of the 20th century. So it's actually funny that you bring that up. But yes,
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not a Catholic. I'm a Protestant Christian. I am considering becoming Orthodox, just for theological reasons. But for now, I'm Protestant.
better benefits,
Pardon?
better benefits, dental and such.
You don't have like dental insurance from being a Protestant or from being a Catholic.
All right. Thank you for clearing that up for me. Um, so
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
sorry for what?
I understand your joke.
Oh,
It was funny. Ha ha
it's
ha.
it's no. Are you? I'm sorry. I should clarify, and I'm not trying to speak down to you. Are you nervous to be speaking with me?
Uh, no.
Okay, that's good to hear. So with that said, unless we wanted to get into you proselytizing and us arguing the specific moral values of whether or not the potential romantic benefit I could gain from saving my precious dick juice to the one I truly love down the line and end up marrying
Well,
with,
I don't think calling it dick juice is the most productive way to talk about it.
I strongly disagree, and we can debate about that next. But the versus my assertion, which is to say I should be able to slam genitals with anyone I want, and life is made better through it. In the absence of that rigorous dialogue, trans issues. Why do people keep calling you a transphobe?
I don't even remember anymore. They're kind of just. I'll have to go look through some things. Can somebody in chat, in the Discord we're in, or
Yeah.
in the Twitch chat if they know me, try to go find something, or bring up some reasons so I can talk.
Yeah, hey, sure. Irish Lady, can I do it?
Yeah, go for
Oh,
it.
Zeta should not be talking
No, I
about this
mean
at all.
it's
Zeta has
no, I can.
harassed, seriously sexually harassed, and it makes
Whoa,
me
whoa, whoa, whoa,
right
whoa,
now with
whoa,
his
whoa,
unmic.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. That's a serious allegation. And
It
It
is
is
serious, and I have proof of it.
oh,
It's cool. Listen, Irish Lady, Irish Lady. Here, let me just say my piece, and you can go
No,
back. Just
I
don't.
don't want Zeta
No,
talking
listen,
about like I
oh,
don't want like if Zeta wants to go talk about like how terrible I am
I'm
while he will
not.
is in the
I'm
seriously
not.
sexually harass me. It's just I'm going to be extremely.
all right.
I'm not.
Okay, hold up, both of you, please. Zeta, as you know, you are my dearest friend in all my life, and I love you. However, I am having this discussion with Pastel, and she should have some authority. Sorry, they should have some authority over who involves themselves in this discussion. So, with that said, Pastel, is there someone else you would like contributing their opinion?
I'm not sure. I'll look. Do we have any volunteers?
Who aren't Zeta, obviously. Zeta, please do know that I love you. Zeta,
We can unmute Fen.
Zeta gave me
Oh,
the N word.
RKV.
Zeta gave me the N word pass a while back. I haven't used it yet. I know I only get one, so
I meant to say RKV, not Fen.
I'm saving it for a really, really good occasion. Also, to anyone who's watching the stream, please ignore the fact that I'm just drawing trash. I haven't calibrated the pen sensitivity settings on my tablet, so I'm literally just fucking doodling. There's really no form to this.
I think your drawing's very, very interesting.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm trying very hard to exclude genitals because I'm on a Twitch stream. Is Fen here? Can Fen give us the rundown?
Yeah, RKV said they don't want to talk, so maybe Fen can.
All right, Fan, you can talk.
Well, I had more issues about the homophobia stuff on hand because a lot of that's been more recent as of late than transphobia.
Sure. I am here for any and all of it. I am a friend of the gays and the transes.
Yes, let's talk about it.
In response to the earlier when you were talking about how AIDS seems to be an issue with the gay community, I feel
Yes.
like you understand not all gay sex is just anal.
It's a lot more anal.
I don't even know about. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how you can really quantify that without people being 100% honest about their experience. And more often than not, people aren't. So, yeah.
Your last bit cut out there. Could you repeat it?
I don't know how you'd be able to accurately report the rate of anal sex between
I
to
can.
come to the conclusion that because people are gay,
on
they're
hand.
more likely to have I've looked at information about this.
This is like I base my things off of like the CDC research. Is
Well, the
what I
CDC
mostly-
research has said that the highest rate of transmission for HIV has been through anal sex, but that doesn't mean that it's something exclusive to gay people or straight. There's a lot of straight people that do like having anal sex. There's a lot of gay people that don't like having.
Oh, that straight people have anal sex. Yes.
Okay, I just want to throw my anecdote in here. I have anal sex on the daily, okay? So I am personally raising the number of heterosexual women engaging in anal sex. I am single-handed. I am taking that number by the reins, and I am flinging it up towards the sky.
But yeah, if the biggest issue with the HIV transmission is the fact when people do or engage in anal sex, the person receiving their rectum is incredibly thin in terms of like other layers of skin, so pathogens can easily be transmitted through and spread HIV. That's the biggest issue.
So, are you saying that it's unrelated to anal sex that gay people have statistically more cases of HIV/AIDS?
What?
I'm a little bit confused as to where this discussion is headed presently. The reason the AIDS outbreak was predominantly contained amongst the gay community during the 80s and 90s was due in part to circumstance, due in part to the social and socio-political ostracization of the gay community, and partly due to the fact that the anal membrane, when vigorously massaged with my girthy penis, does have a tendency to form micro tears, through which the HIV virus is most capable of permeating. With all of that
Uh,
said, huh?
I was just about to say, I just found a source that does claim that it's 33% of gay men receive and give anal sex, if that's relevant.
The the reason that was not a subject of discussion I was interested in broaching is because I believe that STIs, whatever rate they may occur at, are a worthwhile exchange for the freedom and pleasure we are able to engage in through free, unrestricted premarital sex. Even if the HIV transmission rate was 100% amongst gay people, though that would be, that would suck. I would still not advocate for a lack of premarital sex amongst them. It is
I
important.
think it's more similar to the usage of heroin, even, because heroin does also give people pleasure, but it can also have contaminated needles that spreads various diseases like hepatitis C.
Right, but the difference is that heroin is something which has a distinctly and unequivocally negative effect on the body, regardless of the dirtiness of the needle. Whereas sex is, as I'm sure we all know, generally pretty alright. What's more, sex isn't just a fun thing that we can engage in. It's not just a tool of pleasure. It's also a very powerful social, political, and interpersonal tool that we use to bond with others and express our personality on an individual and on a group level. Sex is usually, I mean, people say that politics is just pathologized sexuality, and that is to an extent true. Sex is, in and of itself, capable of being a revolution. For that reason, I would never suggest that a group of people, even young people, refrain from engaging in premarital sex. But we have moved past that discussion, and I was interested in hearing the extent to which Pastel has engaged in this alleged transphobia and homophobia, if that turns out to be the case.
There's another instance from a few nights ago where Pastel was very adamantly pushing how it's a part of gay culture for older men to groom younger men.
This is slightly misleading.
No,
I did not say grooming. I said there was
Yes.
larger age gaps, and I did not approve of the age gaps, which is statistically true. But also, at the
It's
end of
not.
the night, what we found is that the difference
It was
between
not
the age
statistically
gap,
true.
the difference between the age gaps between a typical heterosexual couple, a homosexual couple, the difference in the age gap was only a few years, and I thought it was larger than that. I largely retracted my claim.
Okay, well, I'm glad you retracted that claim.
I mean, if the claim has been retracted, there's not much to discuss there, right? I do support relationships between people who are generally of the same age, but I agree it can be beneficial or fun sometimes to fuck around with people who are much older or much younger than yourself, as long as everyone is capable of consenting and there's no massive power dynamic involved, at least, which is rare but possible. Now, what about this transphobia thing? I am a friend of the transes, Pastel. My wide, mighty shoulders cast a shadow, an eclipse, a pall over the many transes who hide behind me for protection. So I need to I need to know, what is your opinion of transgender people, the transitioning process, the legitimacy of their gender choice, all that stuff.
Transgender people are the gender that they identify as. They deserve all the possible medical access they need to transition the way they see fit. There is some serious social and political challenges that need to be overcome, and that's my opinion of it.
Ooh, that was pretty good. You can't see it, but I'm dabbing furiously over here in support of your statements. None of the things you just said sound transphobic. So you're in favor then of policy which would, well, no, it's not really a matter of policy. You're interested then in the increased respect towards social recognition of transgender people and an opposition of policies which seek to make illegitimate their gender choice?
Any kind of policy, has any sort of political policy that's been proposed been totally inadequate for transgender people or entirely discriminatory.
Okay. That all sounds pretty kosher to me. Now, and I gotta clarify, you're not lying to me, right?
I'm not lying, no.
Okay. because I can't look you in the eyes right now, but if I were looking directly into your eyes, it would be very easy for me to know if I'm lying with my super senses. But you're not, right?
I mean,
No, I'm
Irish
telling
lady,
the
I
truth.
can attest that for the few days I have talked to Pastel, and I'm trans. Yeah, they've been completely fine and respectful. So, however, some people may have different experiences, so I can't attest for them. But personally, yeah, they've been okay.
Uh,
But if anyone else has any experiences otherwise that are contradictory to mine with Pastel, yeah, sure, just tell me whatever.
Yeah, so there's like there was one big issue where in a Discord server there was a transgender woman who was posting, and I forget the whole exact context. I believe it was a debate. It could have just been a discussion, and someone called her a girl. And what I posted is I posted quotes, and everyone, in retrospectively, understand that it looks like I was saying, "Oh, girl,"
that
and
is
I
how I would
understand that.
interpret it.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. But the very honest thing, and I cleared this up with her personally, was that I thought that they were being dismissive of her because uh, if a diminutive term, I thought they were, were old enough that they should be called woman. And it was
Okay.
just pretty mild.
Okay, that seems fair. That seems like a fairly reasonable and easy to engage in kind of misunderstanding. I can completely forgive that. Not, not, not that I'm like the divine arbiter of what constitutes transphobia, but I would not hold that against someone. I have definitely said some yikesy shit in the past too, and quickly tried to retract it, but by that point it was too late. Okay, so we've confirmed somewhat insubstantially that you're not transphobic. You're not trying to socially prohibit my ability to grease up my hog and engage in premarital sex. So, homophobia. And we can be honest here, okay? Because I'm pan, I'm not gay. So I'm completely unbiased when I ask you, as I lean up next to
I
you.
think a lot of pansexual people identify as gay.
Well, I say I'm gay usually in a facetious, like, haha, we're all gay now kind of sense.
Not
But
everyone is gay, though.
Well, not yet, but we'll get there. Do you identify as queer?
No.
Okay.
I used to. I used to identify as bisexual.
Do you, so you now identify as straight?
I
If
don't
you're,
know how that works
if
with
you're,
non-binary.
if you're,
I don't
yeah,
know how
that's
that
true.
works with non-binary because it's like a relative term to your own gender, right?
Yes,
So
it's,
can non-binary people even be straight? Can they even be gay?
I mean,
Can
I don't believe gender is real at all, so I'm not the person to
The better
ask.
question is state which gender you're attracted to, or like which whether you're attracted to masculinity or femininity. This is especially useful for people like you are non-binary. So you should probably just do that so you don't get hung up about all this.
I'm only attracted to
confusion.
men.
Okay.
I kind of figured that from how you reacted to hearing my voice. That was my
What?
how do we say
No, don't
inductively
say that.
reasoned. that
don't
was
say
my
that. Please don't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now
You don't. Thank you.
okay. So with that out of the way, so as I was saying, you can tell me this. I swear, I promise I won't judge you. Are you maybe a little bit down on the gays? Maybe a smidge not too cool with the gay community or the
Oh, the gay community has some need to work through.
True, I agree with that. But there's a difference between saying that in good faith and saying something which is akin to like, oh yeah, the black community, they need to get their act
Oh
together.
yeah, a lot of people who say the black community is they just are being really racist and they just don't want to expose themselves. Like Sargon of Akkad. No, it wasn't Sargon. It was this guy called No BS was on stream with Destiny. The reason black people get arrested more is because they run around with guns hanging out of their pockets.
Mhm.
And you know, that's just a very racist thing to say.
Yeah, I'm
It totally
also down with the blacks, so I'm very much an enemy of racism. Okay. So you don't believe that any of your criticisms of the gay community are founded in homophobia. They're just founded in a genuine and respectful critique of the of some of the more negative aspects of that community. Aspects which might agree with, by the way. I am very critical of the gay community, particularly the gay white community.
I don't know the community. What's your problem with that?
Well, I hate white people, and I want to see them rid with. So that's sort of my.
Are Irish people considered white?
Nope, we're the inside out. No, I'm not saying it. I know you fuckers wanted me to say it. No, I'm not actually even really Irish. I'm more Polish than I am Irish, but I am unquestionably white. Reddish hair, blue eyes, pale skin. I don't actually hate white people. It's just a fun little talking point. Really, though, the gay white community and my many experiences with it just has a tendency to be kind of shitty and exclusionary sometimes, particularly to trans people.
Yeah, like that's kind of the meme is like on like the well, Grinder as a whole, but the Grinder app they'll say things like no, I don't want to say the racial slurs, but they'll say like no blank, no blank, no blank, and they'll just be full of like racial slurs.
All right. Let's do you mind if we rapidly switch topics? Like whiplash switch topics?
Yeah, let's whiplash.
All right. See, because the entirety of this time I've been speaking to you, people have been pasting me controversial things that you've been saying. And I was wondering if you could give me this can be like a lightning round, okay? You can hit me with the meme or not meme, okay? So if you were just shit
Well, if it's not a meme, then it might need a little bit of explanation to it.
Oh yeah,
so it's not necessarily the most fire.
You're right. It's a lightning striking a murky swamp. Okay, we have equal chances of zooming right past or getting really deep into these subjects.
Okay.
So let's go with number 1, submitted by Fen at 6:04 p.m. Posted by you. It's just a coincidence that so many Jews have so much ownership and influence in Hollywood. So that's an interesting one right there. Obviously, and I could be reading into this, when somebody says it's just a coincidence, something about Jews, they usually don't think it's a coincidence. So I'm just sort of interpreting that. Would you mind hitting me with your perspective on this issue?
It means it's just a coincidence.
Really?
And it's just a coincidence and not a coincidence, right? Because there have like I'm not a historian. There's been like the history of like Jews been the historic moneylenders, and just like aspects of Jewish culture. Like I think the average Jewish family makes like $70,000 a year or something in America, which is slightly higher than average. So this isn't like a particularly controversial thing to say that there's Jewish people that are disproportionately represented among the capitalist class, but it's the following are key thing, right? Because then you have white supremacists who will say the Jews control everything, they're in cahoots with each other, it's a cabal. And then there's also white supremacists who will just leave it at a complete joke, and they'll, as a way to like kind of infiltrate the idea. So I understand how people could interpret it that way, but I really think it's a coincidence.
Okay. I mean, I'll have to take you at your word here. Typically, when I see people make comments like that, or what they're trying to do then is they are defending the descriptive claims without affirming the normative claims. You wouldn't go out, for example, if you were a anti-Semite, you wouldn't go out and say publicly, yes, of course, Jews are using the media to broadcast messages of race mixing and cultural miscegenation.
Yeah, they'll like they'll have the joke until the punchline really lands. Is kind of like the phrase that I've heard that like really describes what they're doing.
I do the same thing about killing all white people. Really, I'm just joking about it until the time
No,
comes.
I don't think that's a similar comparison. I don't think that is very similar.
Well, not really. It was a joke, but
yeah, then there's like The other anti-Semitic claim about me is that I really don't like Israel, which is of course nonsense. Hating Israel is a really normal position. Israel's very bad. You shouldn't support Israel just because some Jewish people, um, just because there's a lot of Jewish people living in Israel.
I mean, yeah, I do not support Israel, which made things very hard for me growing up. I grew up in Beverly Hills, which is sort of one of the epicenters of Jewish culture in America. For any of you who are interested, I mean, maybe this is kind of on your minds, right? You know, I don't agree with the white nationalist. I don't think the Jews are taking over the world, but isn't it kind of weird how they're in charge of all the banks and the studios? One of the reasons why, in addition to just plain old honest God circumstance, is the fact that a large number of Iranian Jews fled the state of Iran after the revolution took place there back during the 1970s. When it was made an Islamic state, the Jews fled, and many of them fled to a place where they could form an enclave. Many of these people had money, mind you. It's not like they were poor refugees. They left of their own volition. They bought plane tickets. They came to Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is situated right next to Hollywood. This demographic transference was one of the reasons they ended up having such an overemphasized representation in Hollywood.
I didn't know that about the Iranian Jews. That's really interesting. But
Yeah.
like my point here is just like we can talk about this without having it lead to anti-Semitic conspiracy theories or something like that.
Well, of course we
And like
can.
you just proved it. You just proved it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
So
I'm not one of those fucking libcucks who believes that just because you're being critical of Jewish people or of the Israeli state that you're automatically an anti-Semite. I think that's a very silly position to take. But of course, I am testing you for reactionary beliefs here, so I'm always going to have to be. I gotta be. I'm on the court. I gotta be on my game. You know. Let's let's keep it going. All right, I'm gonna scroll down. Okay, people are telling me about anal sex. That's cool, implying I don't know everything about it. Real funny, guys.
how much is there to know? Come on.
Oh, I am a maestro. I do not need.
No, don't answer.
Okay, are you uncomfortable with explicit descriptions of and discussions of sexuality?
I think I'm a lot more prudish than a lot of people who are logged online. Uh, I I'm still a Christian.
Right, I know. All right, let's see. Just a moment, please. All right, this is kind of a cool one right here. This is a hot take from your Twitter. Now I'm gonna read it out loud to you. I apologize if this comes off as patronizing. It's not my intention.
No, let's read it out loud.
All right. Imagine a female to male, that's a trans man, screaming in a store, "It's sir, not ma'am, never ma'am, always sir. I will take this outside and show you I'm a sir," and knocking over merchandise. Why have we never seen a female to male doing this? You can just say trans men for future context. What could the reason possibly be? Could you it's like an onion. Could you sort of peel back the layers of that tweet to let me get at the juicy core within?
So this was in reference to a viral video that made its way around the web that I'm pretty sure everybody has seen, where there is a transgender woman in a GameStop screaming, "It's ma'am, never sir. It's always ma'am. I'll take you outside and show you a sir," and knocked over some merchandise.
All right.
So the thing is I was curious because I don't think I'd seen a transgender man do something similar like that in a viral video. So this post online ended with a question mark. And with the responses to the tweet, trying to find them, were people that were just answering my question. And people were generally took it in good faith on Twitter and just like explained to me some things. And I can explain to you which is that one second, let me try to pull up this exact tweet. The take on it is that the media we have, the social media we have, is trans-misogynistic. That's transphobia and misogyny combined.
Mhm.
And so the trans-misogyny of social media spread this tweet in order to make a transgender woman look violent or look angry, and that the response that she had in that situation was a response like the pent up kind of frustration and anger that somebody would have from being continuously misgendered or disrespected, because misgendering is disrespectful.
Right. I
And
don't
that,
disagree with that.
yeah. So that's kind of like the reasons I saw for it that were very compelling to me. And that's the responses I got.
Okay. So you're saying then that one interpretation of this tweet, without context, would be you are suggesting that trans women are less emotionally stable and more willing
Well,
to.
they are to an extent,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
but it's not like the most transphobic claim.
Would you like to elaborate on it?
Yeah, because there's a lot of really bad things that happen to transgender women in the way that they're treated and the way that they're talked to, which is um like mentally degrading to be disrespected. Right. They're also frequently on hormone prescriptions, which can alter a person's attitude. So I think I don't know if this was the reason why for this particular example, but if you see if you see a transgender woman or a transgender person in general more easily irritable or something, I think it's like really possible of their experiences and like what they're going through rather than because they're like have some kind of mental illness related to that's caused by being transgender.
I can't disagree with the points you've laid out here, but I do have to sort of we back up and analyze the context behind this tweet. So you're saying that this was in response to a claim being made that there was some illegitimacy to this trans woman's anger. You're suggesting then in this tweet that the trans women have a right to be angry, to occasionally, and we can put it, somewhat tactlessly, irrational. They have a right to this behavior occasionally because they are subjected to such overwhelming social discrimination. Would you say that was sort of the crux behind that tweet?
Yeah, so the tweet, this is the dog. This is the tail wagging the dog because the tweet predates this conclusion for me. So I was pursuing knowledge on this topic, and I'm not going to pretend that the tweet had like a totally innocent tone to it. It was um being like snarky, or it was being way to put it maybe. But I got the answer, and the answer isn't transphobic, and asking this question isn't really transphobic either.
No, asking the question is not necessarily transphobic, but it is the sort of question a transphobe would ask in jest. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's potential. Yeah, potentially, probably.
Okay. Um, there was another tweet right below that one. It's gay men really want the government to buy them PrEP. To anyone who doesn't know, that's a treatment, a pill that you can take, which lessens the likelihood of HIV being transferred from one person to another.
Which should be provided, by the way, as part of universal health care.
Okay, but then your tweet goes on to say gay men really want the government to buy them PrEP at no cost to them so they can raw dog 100 guys a week and complain about people judging that lifestyle choice when anyone says it's unhealthy. Now, this kind of reads like a quote from a conservative, a reactionary even. I mean, this is the exact same argument people make about females want them to pay for your birth control. I mean, want you to pay for their birth control so they can open their legs up to any
Oh,
Chad
well,
who
that'd
walks.
be a really conservative talking point.
I
That's
I
like
think
an
these are
kind of thing to
I
say about women.
I think these are identical talking points. The one listed in your tweet and the one I just hyperbolized.
Well, I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. I just don't think people should be having lots of casual sex, especially unprotected.
Do you think that people having casual, unprotected sex means they should be afforded less medical protections by the government?
No, they should have it.
Okay, but the tweet very clearly suggests an illegitimacy that the only reason gay men want the government to buy them PrEP at no cost to them is because gay men are selfish, hedonistic. Don't you feel that's a pretty strong implication being provided here in this tweet?
There's some hedonism in the gay community, yeah.
Hell yeah, there is.
Yeah, and see that's what I mean. It's like you don't deny that, and
But-
there's plenty of other people that don't deny it.
The difference is when I think hedonism, I think of something good. People looking out for their own happiness and
Oh, but
well-being.
hedonism is not good.
No, hedonism can be interpreted in many ways. I think the carnal pleasure-seeking aspect of hedonism, if balanced responsibly, can be a positive thing. When I say hedonism, I'm referring to something I value, and when you say it, you're referring to something you deride. So, with that being said, you are trying to delegitimize the validity of their request for better health care on account of their sexual proclivities. That's...
You know, maybe if I had a bit more influence, social political influence than like 200, 100 people on Twitter, then I would be more cautious in my language here. But it just doesn't matter what I.
Well, wait, you can't say that. I'm here talking to you about what you value. You can't say, oh, I would have been more cautious with my rhetoric if I had had more of an
Yeah,
audience.
like I mean, if you were talking, you code switch all the time, right? Like you don't talk the same way everywhere you are, correct?
I don't, but anytime I'm in public, I make sure to speak in ways that represent my values fairly. But yeah, of course, if I was talking to like Destiny, I would be memeing a lot more if I was talking to like Hassan or H Bomber Guy.
Yeah, so I just mean like it's not like reasonable to say that I should have the same time, or even if you do believe that I should have the same proper tone on Twitter that I would have while talking on stream with you.
But I'm not.
Then you gotta understand that it's not like it's not an extreme wrong I've made.
I'm not criticizing your rhetoric. I'm criticizing your values. The way this text read, or not text, the way this Twitter quote reads is you suggesting that the claim gay men make to better healthcare, particularly the government buying them PrEP, is made less legitimate because they're only doing so they can continue to engage in irresponsible behavior. You can dress that tweet up in as many fancy words as you like, but the fundamental underlying value is one of dismissal, one of paternalistic value judgment. It's the same kind of thing people do when conservatives talk about whether or not women should be able to get free birth control when all they want to do is get fucked by Chad 24/7.
Yeah, but I think gay men should have PrEP access. I think everyone. I think PrEP access has for me because I don't do this, but for pretty much anyone, it's a good sexually active. It's a good thing. PrEP. It's just like an expensive drug, and it doesn't really have to be. I think that's like largely an artificial thing.
I understand, but do you understand the equivocacy I'm drawing here?
Yeah, I think that I understand being more cautious in the future. It's
Well,
just
But I'm not
it's just
criticizing
not
your
the
rhetoric.
same.
I'm criticizing the things you believe. The words don't matter to me.
So the things that I believe in that is that people shouldn't be having lots of unprotected sex.
Okay, I understand that, but you're not just saying that. You're using that value to suggest that the desire gay men have for government-funded PrEP is illegitimate.
No, it's not illegitimate. It's just that if you're using it to in order to have lots of unprotected sex versus you're using it so that way you and your boyfriend can more safely have sex. That's like two different situations, and it doesn't mean you should deny them for either.
No, but these are literally parallels. If I saw a tweet that said, women really want the government to buy them birth control at no cost to them so they can take it raw from 20 Tyrones, Chads, and Chedites a week, and complain about people judging their lifestyle choice when anyone says it's unhealthy, they're the same. You just replace advocacy against premarital sex with advocacy against women's sexual freedom, which in your case is also what you're advocating against. Because I assume.
Yeah, so might as like this is like this would be a tweet I would make that would be like, oh, women just want the woman just wanted to. No, I don't think I would make that tweet actually. You know, maybe you're right.
Well, I'm not trying to get you here. I'm just saying there's a very.
No, I don't think you like. Yeah, I think you did get me though. Like because like, you know, like I think the thing that still disagree with you on is just that people shouldn't be having lots of premarital sex, and that if you're using PrEP just to have like loads of loose sex, then I don't approve, but I don't think it should be denied anyways.
Okay,
But that the continuation of the point that you would say, oh well, you're just saying people like you're almost implying that people shouldn't have access to this certain medical care just because you don't approve of what they're doing. And it's like it does sound like that. That is what it looks like.
Well,
you know? And I think
that's what it is. I mean, it's the same value. You're using the same rhetoric to push the same set of values. The only difference is you would judge them ethically, but then say, oh yeah, but okay, let them have the PrEP. Whereas a reactionary would judge them ethically and then say, nah, fuck them. They're not getting that birth control.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's different, but also I understand your point.
Right, and I'm not attacking you on your on your policy positions here. That would be easier for me to do. You don't seem to have many policy positions I disagree with, at least not ones that we've uncovered yet. But the value statements you make, and the people who would agree with the value statements you make, are fundamentally a threat to those kinds of rights and virtues.
I don't think I'm a threat to anyone.
Well, I mean, everyone feels that way on an individual level. But do you know for a fact that there aren't people who read that tweet and thought, fucking yeah, fucking gays, fucking fags going around ass blasting one another? God, get that shit. I'm not letting my tax dollars pay for that stuff.
Yeah, like maybe some people thought that about gay people when they saw the tweet.
Okay.
This tweet was not very popular. It got like a bunch of replies. Wait, no, let me look at that. I'm looking to find the tweet, so that way I can look through the replies and try to determine what people were saying to me.
No worries.
Let's see. One got 1. The other one got 2 likes. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not saying that these views necessarily needed to be well received. I'm saying the fundamental values which motivated you to post that are probably
Let's see. This was
questionable.
in December too. In December, I think I had like 50 followers on Twitter.
What about this one? What if you wanted to go to heaven, but God said no fags allowed?
Oh, that's just no. It doesn't say fags. It says asterisk asterisk asterisk.
It could be her take was that it could be either taken as fags or Jews. Your pick. I'm sorry. Their take was it could be fags or Jews.
It could also be nigs. Let's not be exclusionary here.
That's true.
Oh, thank you, Irish.
I don't know why we're saying racial slurs on here. Like,
well, wait. You tweeted it. You just put asterisks instead of the slur.
But it's not a racial slur, no.
Well, what word was supposed to be there?
That's the joke, is that you don't know which word was supposed to be there. It's just a meme.
Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna scroll down. Okay. It's not that I don't like Overwatch, but the majority of people I play with are homosexuals or something. I can't contest that. Everyone on Overwatch is.
Yeah. I don't know why anyone would actually be offended by that one.
Well, I mean, you say homosexual. Knowing,
Wait,
believing.
what's wrong with saying homosexual?
Well, it's
I've
like
been saying
saying
homosexual all night.
it's like saying the gays. You know, it's the sort of thing which might belie more problematic.
So, like, you just don't like the language choice? Like, what would be the better way to say that Overwatch has a lot of gay people in it?
Language belies values, and you're
Did
somebody.
you know that? Did you know that Soldier 76 was the character in Overwatch? Soldier 76 was revealed to be gay and in a relationship with a non-player, a man who's not in the video game.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
I was the
wouldn't
one
it
who
be
made
better
that
if the
decision.
gay characters were in? Wouldn't it be better if the gay characters were in like a relation to each other?
Okay, I'm well.
Like
well
because like right now we have like a Tracer who's like a lesbian, but she's not in a relationship with another character in the game. So
look,
you know, there's not like a gay couple in the game yet.
I agree. I think they should go full SFM, like not safe for work Overwatch Pornhub, and we should get like gay characters who fuck
definitely
in
not.
the in-game animations.
No.
Wait, no.
No.
Hold on. This is a good idea. Wait. Don't back out now. No, yeah, of course I want to see better like gay representation, like everywhere, obviously. But I don't care like too much. Overwatch has done better in this regard than fucking Diablo and StarCraft and Warcraft have. Does Warcraft even have any gay characters?
I don't play Warcraft. I only play Overwatch.
Okay, well, I was a big dick fucking Warcraft player for years. I did mythic raiding. I raid led. I main healed. I tanked that shit.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Legion. Well,
I don't know what any of that
it means I'm enormously intelligent and well endowed. Anyway, in all my experience with those games, I don't recall there being any gay characters. Whatever the case. All right, let's go. Okay, so a lot of these tweets I'm being linked to here seem to be kind of like digging at gay people a bit. Like I can't get you with these. If you become a Catholic, I'll be your GF, Catholic GF. Nice try, homosexual, but I'm not falling for your tricks. Like, I could make that tweet and no one would have a problem with it because everyone would know I tweeted that while fucking a man. But in context, all right.
But yeah, like so, Pastel.
No, here's a look at our KV. Look, I mean, look at this one.
I'm slowly.
Actually, only.
Well, hold on. I'm slowly scrolling through. Wait. I don't know who just spoke.
I was just about to like. So, Pastel, do you understand like transsexual? That term is not really used by many people who are not transphobic, and like transgender is what non-transphobic people say. And I don't know if I agree with Irish Lady, but do you understand like certain words are used more often by bigoted people and certain words used more often by accepting people, and that's just like kind of the
Wait, you don't agree with me on everything I've ever said?
No, I was just saying whether homosexual is a term that's used by bigots or not. I don't actually know, but
Do you concede, Pastel, that some terminology might belie a problematic set of values? I'm not. You don't need to own up to it. You don't need to say it was you. I'm just saying conceptually, that do be a thing. That do be true.
This is like probably like the first time anyone has told me that I shouldn't be saying homosexual.
No. I never said you
And
shouldn't
you know,
be saying.
I
You can
used
say
to
it.
be. I used to my high school GSA. I used to identify as bisexual, and I've never heard of this. Like, I was involved with the LGBT community, and I've never heard of this before.
Okay. Let's get to a meaty one right here. And after this, I think we can close the gay discussion. So here's a tweet. I actually breezed over this one at first because I don't know what I'm doing, but Chekhov's GNU kind of pointed me the right way. So here's the tweet. It's heteronormativity is bad because it says being heterosexual is normal. Someone with the best interests of society at heart, I'm sure. So I'm gonna peel. This isn't really an onion because onions have multiple layers, and this has one layer, and that layer is you're saying heteronormativity is a good thing. That's sort of it's more of a Cadbury cream egg. You just sort of crack it, and you've got the meat. You don't really need to peel back many layers.
Well, I'm saying it's not bad. If your interpretation is that being heterosexual is normal is wrong.
You do realize that heteronormativity doesn't just posit that being heterosexual is normal in the sense that it represents
It's
the
in the
statistical
quote marks
majority.
that I'm quoting a hypothetical person, and I've seen this around before, that interprets heteronormativity to only mean this one simple thing.
Heteronormativity in a sociological sense refers not just to an acknowledgement that heterosexuality is common amongst humans, but also that heterosexuality is the default, the superior.
You know, this is an attack on like lazy queer theory, and not an attack on the fact that it's normal to be gay as well.
Wait. That's a huge misdirection. There's nothing lazy about the queer theory which posits the term.
No, I'm not saying queer theory is lazy. I'm saying that there is lazy queer.
Heteronormativity, the term was crafted by queer theorists to describe society. It wasn't like they hijacked some pre-existing term and turned it towards their own ends. They created that term to refer specifically to the social constructs which normalize heterosexuality, and demonize things that are not that. Heteronormativity is bad.
I can only speak to things as far as I can experience them. And my experience with one person in particular was that they said heteronormativity was wrong because it says that being heterosexual is normal.
Yes, I would agree with that.
If that's their interpretation, that's their interpretation, I think that's a really silly talking point.
I would agree with that statement.
You seem to have a more in-depth understanding of heteronormativity.
Well, yes, I'm very smart, big brain. Look, heteronormativity is bad. Normality doesn't just refer to a statistical majority. Normality refers to the values by which we determine who does not and who does hold power in a society. If I say being straight is normal, I'm not just saying the majority of people are straight, which is one interpretation of my comment.
Yeah, right? Like common means like more like bulk, right?
I'm afraid you cut out. Could you repeat that?
Like common would be a better term to describe straight people, right?
Yes, that is a more value-neutral term, because common refers only to population percentage, or at least generally. That tends to be how it is. But when you say normal, I mean, normal is fucking packed with social vigor right there. There are so many ways in which the term normal can be applied, even if it doesn't refer to a statistical majority of any sort. So I would say, yes, the statement heterosexuality is normal is loaded with problematic dogma. Indefensible.
But like lots of people would hear normal and not think about it in the same way that you do. Like I don't think of normal as meaning like good. I just think of it as like common, I guess. And
I don't buy this argument. Conservatives say stuff like heterosexuality is normal, being straight is normal, being white is normal. There's nothing wrong with being a cis straight white male. There's nothing wrong with being straight. There's nothing wrong with having a white family. This is all normal. Everything is normal. Being white is normal. These are dog whistles. Even if you personally don't ascribe to that particular interpretation, these are means by which reactionaries and conservatives try to paint over things they don't like to see in society. It's not an arguable point. That is how these terms are used.
So, like, if I'm not a reactionary or conservative, then that's kind of perspective is just totally irrelevant.
Yeah, okay, sure. And if you're a mountain man who only speaks Bengali, you could come over to America and say, I hate faggots, I hate faggots. And those words, those syllables, those noises may not mean anything to you, but that doesn't change the fact.
Well, if you got offended by a Bengali mountain man not knowing that he was saying homophobic slurs to you, well, I think that'd be your own response.
Then you apparently don't know you're engaging in heteronormative dog whistling. There's an argument you can make
I
here.
think it's normal to be gay. I think it's normal to be gay and straight.
Are you being disingenuous with me?
It's normal to be gay and it's normal to be straight. I think these things can be...
Are you being disingenuous with me?
In which way do you mean?
Are there any tweets I can find from you where you say, yes, being gay is normal, homonormativity is a good thing? Is there any sort of reciprocal evidence that I can find from you?
But I didn't even say it was normal to... That wasn't the full tweet, because the full tweet was making fun of something somebody said, not as like a standalone opinion.
I understand that, but whether you want to own up to these values or not, the statement, being straight is normal, heterosexuality is normal, is one absolutely loaded with harmful social context. That may not be how these words pan out in a dictionary
Well, I
definition
could
sense.
probably tweet out right now, being gay is normal.
But I'm not asking you to tweet it. I'm asking you to acknowledge.
Yeah, because that would be kind of strange.
Well, no, it wouldn't. If you said something like being gay is normal, people would interpret that as a positive pro-LGBT statement.
Yeah, because it normalizes being gay.
Yes, exactly. But the problem is, normalization is not a value-neutral part of discourse. When you try to assert what is and is not normal, you run the risk.
You know what?
of
There's actually are tweets I have. 1 second.
Okay.
I'm sure I have something. Let's see. On January 13th, somebody asks me through Curious Cat, "Is it okay if I want to be a girl?" Question mark. And I say, "It's totally normal." Heart emoji.
Okay, that I agree with that. I mean, I'm fine with the perspective being laid out there. Listen, I'm not accusing you of being homophobic here. What I'm accusing you of is making a statement which, when interpreted in a value.
Well, you just said that if I had like a reciprocal tweet for gay people or trans. Well, this person, presumably, this was a potential trans person, but. You know, I think that the point still stands that I call these things normal, like, or at least believe they're normal, and to say that they're normal online, like, and it's just like, I mean, if you don't think that this is like a good counterexample to show that I think it's normal to be trans, like, I don't know.
This just reads to me like really tone deaf. Like if someone was like white power, and then I'm like, hey, what the fuck are you saying? And they were like, oh, I didn't understand there was any like pre-existing
White power
social.
is there's nothing.
Hold on.
Not even
I
close.
didn't realize there was any
Different.
pre-existing social context there. I say black power. I say Latino power. I say Asian power. I love all people. I love all races. Look at these other tweets. It doesn't take away from the fact.
They were maybe if they were like a white person that was saying that would be really bad.
Why, you got a problem with me being white, buddy?
You know, I'm white myself actually, and I don't even have any Irish blood in me.
Okay. Let me scroll down to the bottom of this very long. Yeah, heteronormativity is good. Oh, we're almost caught up. Holy shit! I'm playing Overwatch. Homophobia is epic. Okay, I think that's pretty clearly a troll statement.
Yeah, that's out of context, dude. There's nothing there. Like it would be really silly to just
No.
discuss.
I'm not gonna get you on that one. Okay, we're scrolling through. Cool. All right, we did it. Wow, we made it to the end. I guess we've gone over every bad thing you've ever done or been alleged to do.
No, I'm really glad we could go over this.
Well, we're not done talking. There's one more subject I would like to get to here. You have to ask me what.
Which topic would you like to discuss next?
Okay. Now, there are probably a ton of issues we could find where we might arguably split hairs on. You don't seem to be racist to me. You don't. I don't have any evidence to conclusively determine that you are a bigot against gay people or trans people or what have you.
You know, I used to identify as bisexual. My sister's gay. My coworker's gay. These people are like really close to me. They are my friends.
Yeah, well, you can't I have gay friends. I mean,
Well, it's more than that because I used to identify as bisexual, and I have a picture of myself standing in front of an LGBT flag.
none of these. I'm sorry. I'm not a fucking libcuck. I will never accept these as substantive arguments against a person's perceived.
Yeah, but I
gender.
had it not as like in support of it, but because I identified it as the time.
Okay, look. If what matters to me is what's in your heart. You can be bisexual and still be a bigot against bisexual people. There are plenty of self-hating bigots out there. I mean, Destiny's.
Indianapolis is and he's Jewish.
Yeah, Milo.
Yeah, so it'd be,
Yiannopoulos is a fantastic.
I'm not like
example.
Milo though because I'm not Semitic and I'm not homophobic. So
And you're
it's
also not
like
$4 million in debt.
No, I am actually doing pretty good financially right now.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, like the job I have is really good for me. It feels really good. I like where I'm working now, and the pay is pretty decent.
Cool. I've
Um,
I've been unemployed for a while, so I'm a little envious, but that's okay. Now here's
yeah, like I get paid a little more than minimum wage, and then I get like 30 hours a week, and I'm in a fortunate enough place that I can be saving most of that money, so it's pretty.
nice. Now, with that said, we don't really need to discuss policy positions here, but there is one sort of ooh, I can't get over it. I thought I could get over it, but I can't. We got to talk about it. If you're comfortable, if you're not comfortable, let me know. Why can't I fuck 100 buttholes a week?
You're absolutely allowed.
No, 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 no. We can skip past the right. No, don't even worry about it. Okay, I'm a filthy sinner. Get right the fuck down at me. Okay, tell me, what is the issue? How am I hurting myself?
You're increasing your own risks of contracting disease of everybody you're having sex with, and you're damaging your personal relationship to sex.
Okay, I'm not really interested in the STI argument because I believe STIs are a valuable, or sorry, not valuable, a valid.
No, it's not good to have STD. It's not good.
a.
Is there any reason you say STIs instead of STDs?
It's just the commonly accepted medical terminology now. They are technically
Oh, that's
infections.
interesting because when I was in high school, we always said STD.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, I'm 24, as I knew. The pause my neck. Fuck off, sigh. No, they're not valuable, but they are a worthwhile trade-off for sexual freedom. But here's what I want to know: how do you feel I'm damaging my relationship with a future partner by engaging in premarital sex?
It's the most intimate act you can be, and if it's a casual event, it's just less important.
Couldn't you say the same about any arbitrary designation? What if we did like the fucking fantasy fairy tale thing where we have our fake names and we have our true names, and if you say your true name out loud to someone, they have power over you. What if we all just had true names? Okay, so my real name is, let's say, Greg, but my true name, you get me in a room, if I share that shit with you, you have total control over me. What if we just did that? What if we did that instead of sex? That way I can fuck whoever I want, but that way I share that person with my that name with the person in my future.
I don't know what you said. That was a little bit of a confusing premise to me.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
That was a confusing premise to me.
What if there were other ways by which we could express an ultimate act of intimacy with somebody, and we could leave sex, something which is very fun, especially when experienced with multiple people.
This seems a little heretical.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have a follow-up to that, or is that just a sort of a thought-terminating cliche there?
What's a thought terminating cliche?
It is something that you can say to end your prospective willingness and obligation to engage in a discussion. For instance, like a right-winger might say, you're just a fucking libcuck and walk away, or I could say, you capitalist fucking bootlicking dipshit and walk away. That kind of thing, you know?
Wait, what did I say that you said was this thing?
That's heretical.
Yeah, well, it is. Because sex was created as a very unique thing, and it's it's kind of the original state of people to be a part of each other, and then we had we were separated we were separated into man and woman. So sex is kind of this very ancient state of human connectedness that we lose when we give pieces of ourselves to other people other than a person we're committed to in marriage.
But every animal has sex. I mean, it's not just a human-specific thing.
Animals and humans are different.
animals and humans are the same. In
No, they're different because evolutionarily we're related, but that's only due to how we live now as in a fallen world.
That's only due to sex. It is only through
No,
sex.
it exists this way because we live in a fallen world. Before original sin, human beings existed in a way that precluded evolution. Um,
Wait, are you like a young Earth creationist?
no. There's some things that I believe in that may sound similar, but I do believe that the nature of the world and the universe as we observe it is due to is due to how we is due to original sin.
Okay. Fair and
Because
well.
the humans like degraded because in the Old Testament people lived for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and there were giants, and now we don't have that. People live to like 70, 80, maybe 100 years old if they're very healthy. Um, but the nature of the world now is one that's very well reflected in the sins of Adam and Eve.
Right. I mean, thank you for the tale. With all that said, do you believe... Let me ask this. Do you believe I am going to hell? You don't need to banter.
Listen,
You don't... No.
I'm
You don't
no,
need
this
to...
isn't banter. This isn't banter because it's a question.
I mean, you can come at it. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's a weighty judgment to you, but my feelings won't be hurt.
No, it is a weighty judgment. So that's like even if you feel like you can handle it, that's good. I'm happy for you. It's good to have that thick skin. But I would like time to fully explain my belief instead of casting.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can list things I've done that I believe Christians would find worthy.
Anything that you've done is irrelevant to what I'm about to say.
I don't accept Jesus into my heart and do not repent for my sins.
Okay. So the thing is that I'm under the impression I'm talking to the youth pastor at my church, and I'm going to talk about this with the head pastor at my church too, and I'm going to try to a few other people to talk to this about, because I feel like I could be very, very wrong about this, but I believe God created hell as a place for Satan and not a place for human souls, and that God's love and judgment transcends all time, and the sacrifice of Jesus is something that saves people regardless of their sins and regardless of when they lived and died.
Cool, we're all getting in. Fuck, now there's like no obligation to behave well.
There is, but it's not out of a selfishness thing. Like if God was like, you have to follow all my rules or you'll burn in hell, I don't think that's a very loving thing. No. But I do think that even though we have the love of God saving us, the grace of God saving us, we should try to live our lives the best that we can.
And not fuck 100 buttholes every week.
I think that would be part of it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Obviously, I'm not the most judgmental when it comes to those things, but I don't think it would be the best.
Well, maybe not the most judgmental. No, I wouldn't say you're the most judgmental. You're a little judgmental. Maybe. We can agree on that, can't we? There's nothing inherently wrong with being judgmental, you know. I'm pretty judgmental.
Yeah, everyone judges. Yeah, everyone judges.
All right, there's one more thing that I would like to ask of you. And I understand we've been bouncing around a lot. I also understand that this has all been kind of a prolonged character analysis of you. I understand that can be very grating and also very unnerving. I
think I have been like really, really patient and thoughtful, I think.
Well, I mean, you haven't told me I'm going to hell. That I think belies something of patience on your part. You also haven't told me that I'm like a piece of shit for being like a butthole explorer. So I think that generally speaking, you've come across quite well. But Joseph Stalin. A lot of people have been bringing this up. I'm not a tanky. Not even close. I'm a left com. So, with that said, what are your opinions on the man?
Joseph Stalin did what was necessary for his country at the time.
Oof. All right. Ooh, okay. Let me just... All right. Oh, it hurts every time. Would you like to elaborate on that statement? Or do we want to start with, like, the murder of political dissidents or the gulags or, like, the genocide? Where do you think... What...
Let's start with the gulags.
Sure.
So, there was the gulags were not the sole responsibility of Stalin, and there was, of course, overreach involved with the gulag system. And this is something that I've always been very honest about when I talk to people. And the overreach with the overreach in the gulags is not really the responsibility of Stalin. It's pretty unfair to suggest that it was.
I mean, as supreme leader of the Soviet state, it seems
What was
like...
his title? Was his title Supreme Leader?
Are you really going to argue to me that he didn't have control over every aspect of higher government?
Well, you think he had control over everything that went on in the Soviet Union?
No, I don't think he was God. I think that he had the authority to intervene into any matter he saw fit for his time. There was no department head who could preclude his interest.
So you think he was responsible for the things that happened, every abuse in the Gulag system?
Well, not every abuse individually, but collectively the deaths of, like, thousands and thousands and thousands of people in slave labor and torture, and the locking up of homosexuals, the execution of political dissidents, the threat to send people who disagreed with him politically to the...
So what sort of political dissidents? You said that you hate fascists, and you hate capitalists. Those would be political dissidents too if you if you were trying to achieve socialism.
They would be. The difference is... I don't believe...
You would just debate them and convince them to become...
No, my friend, you don't start with me.
I know you don't agree with that, which is why I say it.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you do with fascists?
Well, you don't build concentration camps and throw them in there for slave labor. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is my hard line, okay? Execution can be justified. Some people are a sickness to the state and to humanity. Some people need to be killed. No one needs to be tortured. No one needs to be enslaved. No one needs to be raped. And he didn't just... I'm not suggesting that there were, like, tons of rapes in these gulags, though there definitely were, but tangential. He wouldn't just sentence these political opponents, you know, and not all of these political opponents were fascists. Do you think there were, like, fascist movements in the street?
So he should have had mass executions instead of a prison system.
He should have executed people who committed crimes that he felt deemed worthy of execution, not, say, being homosexual or opposing his tyrannical rule over the Soviet state. Do you really think the people that were locked up in those gulags were fascists?
So this is the thing, too, is I'm not a memer that will go and say, oh, Stalin did no wrong, especially when it comes to things like homosexuality, because he obviously did things that were characteristic of everybody else at the time. But the conditions of the Soviet Union were more progressive, and the material reality of the Soviet Union before and after the Bolshevik Revolution and before and after Stalin took power speaks for itself.
It's pretty easy to industrialize when you do it on the backs of millions of deaths. I don't know how much credence I'm willing to give him for that.
So millions of people died in this. How many millions? How many millions?
Wait, do we want to bring up numbers? I'm not confident enough to just list them off the top of my head. Do we want
to... Well, let's not talk about numbers, but I mean, you just did bring up, you said that there was millions. You said millions of people died from directly because of...
No, I said, well, yes, absolutely. But millions of people died in the process of the industrialization of Soviet Russia.
What's in your favorite tabs?
Oh God, probably porn. I probably should. I probably should. Never mind. Never mind. No sources today. Never mind. Stalin never killed a soul. What? What? Oh, I really need to create a second user account so I don't have that happen every time I bring up a new tab. All right, what were we talking about? Hello?
Let's see. Chat says let's talk about.
Ask about the Holdemer. I don't want to talk about the Holdemer. I've talked about the Holdemer so many fucking times. If there are people who seriously think that what took place was a... Because there are, like, different memes. Like, some people will say the kulaks deserved what they got for fucking hoarding grain. And some people...
What is a kulak?
Well, hold on.
No, be clear what a kulak is. Tell me what a kulak is.
I mean... Look, I'm a progressive, okay? A kulak's whoever identifies as a kulak, right?
Oh, okay. Well,
No, kulak. No, because you were like demanding that. No, kulaks were a specific, like, weren't they an ethnic subgroup in a particular region of the?
No, they weren't an ethnic subgroup. They were farmers. They were farmers. They were.
Wasn't there an ethnic characterization to kulaks? I'm pretty sure. I can't fucking open.
Yeah, and it was regional. It's regional to Ukraine.
Okay, yeah, then yes, then that was what I was referring to. I knew there was an ethnic component to it. Yeah, they were okay. Look, what I was saying was when you argue with someone about the Holdemer, if you argue with a Tankie, you never know if they're going to go the kulaks deserved what they got route or the Holdemer complete accident. Stalin can't control grain shortages and the weather, da-di-da-di-da. You never know if they're going to say it wasn't his fault or it was his fault and they deserved it. So what's your take, Pastel?
I think when it comes to the farmers, a lot of them were hoarding grain. A lot of them were resisting a system that would have fed more people, and that the famine itself was a natural cycle of famines that occurred in Eastern Europe throughout all of history until the Soviet Union collectivized farming.
Okay.
There was famines like every 5 to 10 years in this region of the world for pretty much all of history. And then under the Soviet Union, these famines stopped happening.
Okay. So you think it is a coincidence then that prior to and during the Holodomor, Joseph Stalin had exhibited an interest in stifling what looked like it might have turned into a Ukrainian independence movement. It's just sort of a coincidence that millions of them happened to die to a famine that might have been prevented through a different distribution of
You think the famine could have been prevented is the real issue here, because I don't think it could have been prevented.
It's recognized as man-made by like multiple international institutions. It's considered a genocide like all across the fucking world. The only people who disagree with this are people who are really uncomfortable acknowledging the fact that leftism has a dark history. I feel like this is counterproductive to my material goals in the year of our Lord 2019. When I argue for socialism, when I argue for like a violent revolution, I need to be like, hey guys, listen, I know I'm advocating for violence, but I'm only doing it because I really do think this is the only way for us to move society forward. And then they'll be like, hey, who's that guy over there? And I look behind me, and it's you, Pastel, wielding a fucking Molotov and AK-47, denying.
So you think that it's the existence of people who don't believe in propaganda who support the Soviet Union, who are the ones who are truly causing the most grievous movement.
Okay, okay. Do you recognize that there are ideologues out there who are uncomfortable acknowledging the worst aspects of their preferred social or economic system?
There are people who do say things like Stalin did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but when people say Stalin did nothing wrong, what they're
There's
actually saying is the
there's the
Holodomor didn't
CB.
happen.
There's like the Holodomor did not happen, but there are people who are like the Communist Party of Great Britain, ML, is what they call themselves, and they're just absolute clowns. They
Yeah,
have like
there are tons
they
of
go march
clownish.
around with like they march around with like uh they march around with like Stalin banners, and then they go and say things like transgender people are not workers or something like that. And it's like these people are clowns, and they're probably cops, to be honest. And then there's also like this Italian Communist Party that it apparently existed for a while, but it's only gotten popular because people started circulating this meme about it, where they like endorsed like Khmer Rouge or the Taliban or something. And
Okay,
it's like
but you
this is just
realize,
like fake news.
but you're
Like
doing.
everybody knows that there's like Council Pro and things like everybody knows that there's like FBI and cops everywhere trying to like delegitimize socialism and communism.
Okay, yeah, but you can't go full fucking overboard on the other side and go like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna listen to that Western imperialist propaganda. Now let me explain to you why Joseph Stalin didn't kill these people. Like you do know, like, okay, can we acknowledge that in spite of the many things he did, which could be arguably defended, he was a monster who killed everyone in government who he saw as even a remote threat to him, who implemented a police state on a level at which has never been seen before in human history, who would take out not only dissidents but their families at the rumored whisper of disagreement with him and his policies.
So I'm just not convinced about that.
But this is okay. This is, I'm sorry, but this is historical totality. This is what he did. This is how he kept power. He probably didn't need to do all that shit to keep power, mind. I mean, he was already a supreme leader, but he did these things.
You don't have to call him a supreme leader.
But that's
You
what
can
he
use,
was.
like, this is just such a disrespectful, chauvinistic way to go talk about a foreign leader.
Wait, chauvinist? Wait, how am I being misogynist? Do you mean that in a different context? And also, in what way? Yeah, I have nothing but disrespect.
No, chauvinistic means aggressive or exaggerated patriotism.
Okay, I haven't heard it used in that context before. Yeah, I don't have any respect for Joseph Stalin. I don't respect the man. Wait, are you okay? No, this irritates me. Let's break this down. For one, you do recognize that he had unlimited control in his government. There was no one with the authority to say no to him. Like that's not arguable.
He tried to resign like half a dozen times or something, and the Central Committee was like, no, you have to stay in power.
Yeah, in the same... Okay. You do realize that this is like a game leftist leaders play in the totalitarian regimes they control, right? Where they play like the demure servant of the people. It's the same reason why after he would make a speech, he would clap politely at his own speech. Not because he was jerking himself off after finishing a public speech, but because he hadn't made the speech. He was just a vessel through which the public will had made its voice known. There's evidence to suggest the things I'm saying. This is a game they play. The begrudging leader of the people. He didn't want to take power, but he had to. The people needed him. These are stories fascists tell themselves to justify the extent of control.
Are you calling Stalin a fascist?
No, but the fascistic element of deference to a higher authority and the belief that a great leader must take hold of society for the betterment of all is evident in all totalitarian systems, whether they be Stalinism.
Well, I personally don't subscribe to the great man theory, where I think only Stalin could have headed the Soviet Union in such a way.
No,
I think he made the right decisions largely, and I think that he wasn't a dictator. I think that he tried to resign, and I think that's evidence not that he was the only person who could have done this thing, but rather that he
Wait, I
was
never said he
doing
was.
it in a way that was voluntary.
I never said he was the only person who did this thing.
No, I'm not saying you say it was. I'm saying that. I'm not suggesting that he's some great man, in terms of like a great man view of world history, where people believe that history is controlled by a few great men, but rather.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm not saying that he was some divinely inspired.
Well, you were talking about this because you said this is what fascists will tell themselves.
Yes, people who defer to authoritarian leaders will tell themselves that some people will rise to the occasion and make great personal sacrifices, like, say, not retiring when you want to serve the better interests of the people. They did the same shit with Hitler. He never pretended to resign, mind you. He never did that. He never took it that far. But the stories they would tell about him, about this.
So now you're saying Stalin just pretended to resign and pretended to try to resign, or
considering the fact that he had more power in the Soviet Union than any other individual did, and there were a great many games played between him and his officials to act out the mannerisms of a functional government while maintaining his supremacy. Yes, I would say these were fake resignations, that he was playing a game. I don't even think it's necessarily I'm not impugning him for this. I'm impugning him for being a monster. I mean, you do realize that in the years the Holodomor took place, not only was was travel from these regions forbidden, like people who were starving in their
well, I don't know about that, but also what was going on in the 30s in Europe? What was something that was happening at that time? In Germany. In Germany in particular.
Wait, this has nothing to do with the point I was about.
No, it's totally. The famine is absolutely relevant to the escalation of warfare in Eastern Europe at this.
I never talked about warfare. I'm talking about the Holodomor. You realize the Soviet Union had an export of nearly 2 million tons of grain during the years that these people were starving. They weren't allowed to travel from the areas.
Who were they exporting to?
I don't know. I would have to look it up, but I have too much porn on my computer. What difference would that make? Are you seriously saying that the amount of money they made through that export was worth more than the millions of lives? Wait, no.
The Soviet Union was not an industrial country, and the Nazi Germany was preparing for war. They were preparing to ethnically cleanse.
This is extremely disingenuous. No. You're
Union
deflecting. I'm
did
going.
Not have tanks.
I will.
Did not have airplanes.
I will.
And had to
mute,
industrialize at this time.
I will mute you if you speak over this point. Listen, they had an export.
Can you even mute me in the server?
I can. I was given that power.
What?
They had. Yes, I'm very.
Well, I have counter mute powers too.
Okay, fair. Listen. They exported millions of tons of grain that year. They prevented travel from the areas affected most by famine. Stalin had a history of using starvation to break down local political rebellions, and he had expressed publicly an interest in disavowing and opposing a burgeoning Ukrainian independence movement that had started in the late 20s and grew to prominence.
What was the deal with this independence movement?
If you're about to suggest, wait, no, this is a deflection. It doesn't matter why.
No, it does matter.
It doesn't matter why they wanted to leave. Murdering millions is not.
Will say,
I'm gonna kill myself.
Look, the Red Army went and executed these people in Poland, but they were They were the Nazi collaborators. It's like he executed Nazi collaborators, and people will include these deaths in like the Black Book of Communism, even.
I'm not. So wait. This is a deflection. I'm not mentioning any of these numbers. I'm mentioning specifically the people who starved to death when there was enough grain to feed them, and the grain was not delivered there. And Stalin has a history of engaging in starvation tactics, and he had a political reason to want to starve out these people, and the fact that there was rhetoric being pushed around at the Soviet Union at the time that people who were starving were counter-revolutionaries, idlers, thieves.
A lot of farmers were hoarding grain, and people.
So did it not happen,
all over
or
the Soviet Union?
So did it
did
not
people,
happen?
Like, not die of starvation in like the eastern parts of the Soviet Union?
Not on that
or
level.
Did it only happen?
Not on that level.
I'm actually not even convinced that. I'm not even convinced
Wait,
that most
you
of the deaths
realize
I'm
you've
not
jumped
even convinced
topics,
that
right?
most of the deaths from this famine were in Ukraine.
You realize you've jumped topics, right? Because your position was that the Holodomor didn't happen, that it was a famine caused exclusively by poor circumstance. And now you're telling me these people were idlers, were counter-revolutionaries, they did deserve it. You're an ideologue, my dude.
No,
Like, I'm really
not
sorry.
saying that.
You've been pleasant to
No,
talk to,
I'm
but
saying-
you have jumped rhetoric on this topic so many times in the 15 minutes we've been
Well, I
talking
think
about
you're
it.
being kind of rude right now. It's
I
like
don't.
I'm, I don't
You are
wanna
a
call, like,
genocide
I don't
denier. I don't feel
identify-
an. I don't feel a
you
need
know,
to be polite
like,
to
if
you.
it's not a genocide there, then you can't really.
What? You cut out.
Well, if there wasn't a genocide, you can't deny it.
They're cool. Nice meme. You have jumped.
No, it's not a meme. It's like a real thing. Like
You
like,
have
I don't
jumped rhetoric.
identify as a
Listen.
genocide
Hey.
denier.
How about we get you down to topic right now? Did the famine that took place, that ended the lives of millions of people in the early 30s in the Ukrainian region, was it an accident, or was it a deliberate attempt on the part of Stalin and his central planners to starve out an insurrection? Just
No,
answer
I
that.
think that it was a result of a natural famine.
So it was an act. So it was just like poor circumstance.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So then, why did, in a time of national crisis and mass starvation, the Soviet Union continue to export grain when they had the resources, manpower, and political machinations necessary to deliver this grain to the people who were starving? Why did Stalin?
I'm not convinced that this grain was deported because you're going to provide me any sources that the
can't-
grain was deported.
we
but
can. Do you want me to? I
If
can
we
Google
want
on my
to
phone.
take that,
Do we
if
want
we
to
want-
Google
yes,
grain export Soviet
I would
Union?
be interested, but I would also say that it's entirely reasonable that the government at the time would choose to industrialize and create tanks and airplanes for an inevitable war with Nazi Germany, rather than feed everybody in the area. So
So wait. That's deliberate. If you're saying they made a choice to allow these people to starve and instead use the money from the grain exporting to fuel their war machine, that would be deliberate. You're letting your citizens die for a political end.
well, I'm
so
not
was
even
an
convinced
accident?
that this is. I'm not even convinced that this is the case.
You realize you're being horrendously dishonest. You're jumping topics.
I don't think I'm jumping topics, and I don't like being called dishonest. Like,
I know it
I
must suck
acknowledge
for
that
you.
I'm not very well trained in. I know that I'm not very well trained in debate. Like, I don't have much of a formal education, so I'm just
I'm not, dude.
my
I'm
best.
not.
I'm just trying my best, and like, I don't want you to like say that like I'm dishonest or
Don't
an ideologue or something.
Don't play the underdog on me, friendo. Okay, I'm not.
I'm not trying to be an underdog. I'm just trying to be honest.
I'm not maligning you for your lack of education. There's nothing wrong with discussing a topic.
Well, you're
over
saying
which you
like I'm
don't have-
jumping topics around, and I'm like trying
No,
not
I'm not
to.
accusing
it's just
you.
hard.
I'm not accusing you of being uneducated. I'm accusing you of being ideologically motivated in your rhetoric. Because listen.
So
because
what does
you
that
have-
mean?
You have made statements which are mutually exclusive. You say that this. You say that the Holodomor was an accident, a natural famine, a cause of natural events. However, you postulate that the grain export surplus, that's just a fact that it happened. You can look it up. I can't look shit up with fucking porn on my stream.
Yeah,
that-
Mush has linked a source from Wikipedia, which says that the exportation went from 4 to 5 million down to a little under 2 million tons.
Yeah.
During the later months of the famine,
Yeah, 2 million tons. That's a
and then
lot.
they say that there was also 157,000 tons, and that there was grain also imported at other times. So like you can see these numbers drop from they were
Yes.
deporting 2.5 million,
This
to
is a
500,000.
this is a complete.
Can I please finish, Irish
well,
laddie?
you did interrupt me. You realized that I was in the middle of
Oh,
making a
I'm
point.
sorry.
and you- Listen. So you have made statements which are mutually exclusive because
I
the
don't think I did.
the idea that this is a natural famine that the Soviet Union could not have helped is irreconcilable with the facts that they were still maintaining a grain export, that they had the resources necessary to seek aid from other nations. That's a thing they could have done, by the way. Generally,
I mean, the exportation of grain dropped, like
they still had an
over to.
export surplus. They still had an export surplus. It doesn't matter. They exported millions of tons that could have fed millions of people. It doesn't matter if it dropped. It probably dropped because of the famine. That's true. They had the resources to help more. They could have sought out aid from other nations. That's that's
So
good
your
form.
point is instead of deporting 500,000 tons, they should have deported 0 tons?
No,
Because they ended up deporting like millions fewer tons as a direct response to the famine anyway.
Here's my point. The Soviet Union at this time in the 30s was not some baby state. This was not Haiti. This was not Nigeria. This was not Thailand. This was not some state that cannot handle its internal affairs without international help. Okay? The Soviet Union.
You think that it wasn't a developing nation?
Yes, it was a developing nation that had a lot of internal economic power. Please let me finish this point, okay? Here is what I am saying. If the famine was naturally caused, as you posit, the Soviet Union should have done the following. Stop exporting grain. Import more grain. Seek help from other nations. They should have not kept people in that region from leaving to travel to areas not experiencing famine. They should not have publicly demonized the victims of this mass starvation.
The kulaks were not the victims. The kulaks were the ones hoarding grain, and they didn't comprise, like, they weren't like an ethnic group of Ukrainians.
Do you remember when I said that you shouldn't interrupt this? There was undeniable Soviet propaganda to demonize the groups of people who were affected most by the starvation.
Demonizing kulaks is good, though, because not everybody there was a kulak, and most people weren't kulak.
Do you hear me not saying kulak? Do you remember me saying kulak, or do you remember me saying victims of mass starvation?
I'm unaware of any propaganda that wasn't directed directly at kulaks.
I'm not going to malign you for not understanding this, because not everyone has dealt with as many Tankies as me. But yes, not only did Stalin malign victims of the famine, not just kulaks, not just grain hoarders, but people who were dying out there. He didn't ask for international aid. He continued grain exports to fuel what you alleged to be the war machine. I don't know. He could have been buying himself nice slippers with that money for all I care. It doesn't matter. He bought a
lot of slippers with like 500,000 tons of grain.
Yes, I hope they were good slippers. But what matters is that he didn't prevent the deaths of millions of people when they had the economic power to do so. And if you fail to prevent millions of people from dying in your nation, that is a deliberate act of genocide. And this isn't even to speak of all the propaganda going on about the Ukrainian insurgency that he was going to try and put down. How politically convenient it must have been that a starvation epidemic happened to break out in this area.
It wasn't really convenient that there was a huge famine. Like, that was really bad for pretty much everyone there.
Okay. I feel like we have reached the natural conclusion of this particular exchange. I can't look up sources right now because I've got fucking big dick porn all over my search history and bookmarks bar.
Well, if you do, I'm sure no one will report you to Twitch. I'm sure.
Can I even get banned for having like explicit thing? Because it's not like the porn's there. It's not like there are titties.
Well, you used some homophobic slurs and over voice before, and I think people got banned for that before. But yeah, I think their rules are really inconsistent.
Come at me, Twitch. Also, I'm streaming like 30 people. They don't
yeah, it's not bannable. Like, just have links to porn just like pop up or whatever. People don't get banned for that. If it shows porn on the stream, then yeah, sure, it's bannable.
But just to clarify, if after I'm done talking with Pastel, I got my webcam out and started jerking off on cam, that would be a violation.
Don't do that, please.
That would be a violation. Very enjoyable.
Hey, thank you. Wait, she said enjoyable, not unenjoyable, right? I gotta make sure that was a compliment.
Yeah, Auberry's always nice, so you can always just assume that she's
Okay,
nice.
Cool. I think
Auberry is pretty epic.
I think Audrey is epic. Auberry is epic too. All right, this has been a wonderful discussion. I am tremendously hungry. Pastel, in spite of our many disagreements, please do, in the future, feel comfortable talking to me. If you're ever interested in discussing these issues again.
Yeah, thanks, Irish Laddie. I thought you were mostly polite to me.
Yeah. Um, I've treated people worse. That's sure. Okay. Fuck. How do I cap this off? Because I'm streaming to all of like 3 people. Pastel. It has been
There's 31 viewers right now, I think.
31
30
entire people.
32.
Pastel.
That's like a small, but it's pretty healthy, I think.
Yeah. Pastel, it has been a delight talking to you. Thank you very much. To all of those currently in the chat, Voice 1, thank you very much for lending me this, this avenue of discussion. I am going to leave here, and then I am going to close off the stream. So, thank you again. All right, peace.
Good night, Irish laddie.
Okay, and to those wonderful residents of my chat, let's look real quick. Okay, to those of you who are still watching, how did I do? Come on, be honest with me, real quick before I go. I was trying to be polite there. Okay, I feel like I got them on some pretty good points. Give me some reaffirmation. Come on, hit me with it. Fuck you guys. All right, you did a good job. Thank you. All right, let me close out the art program. Nothing but shit doodles as usual. Yeah, of course. Should have been meaner. I don't. I feel like I can bring Pastel over, like with more time. I don't know. I don't want to be super duper fucking mean. I'll be mean to fascists, liberals, like reactionaries any day. But I do have a bit of sympathy in my heart for Tankies because I used to be one. It's really easy to be a tanky. I was a tanky at their age. Like, that could have been me, you know? Yeah, I could have gone harder in the genocide stuff. If I ever talk to them again publicly, I'll definitely hit them on that. For any, like, curious, like, it was a genocide. It was a deliberate genocide. There were natural conditions which led to famine, which were exacerbated by deliberate policies placed in them by the Central Planning Bureau and by Stalin. Like, it was a genocide. So, thank you very much to all of you who enjoyed this little thingy. I don't know. I'm not a fucking streamer. And I'll talk to you all soon. Actually, before I leave, first person to ask me a question in chat, I'll answer that question, then I'm dipping, okay? Make it a good one. I'm waiting. Did you have fun? Whoop, that's it. Yes, I did have fun. I found that a fairly enjoyable conversation. How big is my dick? It's fucking big. All right, I got a piece. I love you folks. Thank you all very much for your time, your attention, and other nice words. And I'll talk to you all later.